Hi guys, it's Lori, the Frugal Mom. Welcome back to my channel. I am coming to you from my bed. Today was a rest day. I did, however, drive my son to school, make him breakfast, do dishes. What else did I do? Sorry, a little out of it today, and make dinner and do those dishes. So not a complete loss, and I did do some paperwork I had to do. So as some of you know, I've had this upper respiratory infection for a few weeks, and that's why I sound so wonderful. Let's put a positive spin on this. I sound sexy and husky, right? Or, I gotta at least find some humor in it. I've been really tired today. I've got a headache. I suffer from intractable migraines, so I get them more in the summer, thankfully. I'm just trying to make myself look presentable, sorry. So when I get one of those headaches, it could be severe, or it could be moderate or minor. This is like a minor to moderate one. I get them several times a month, and sometimes they last for days. Unfortunately, my insurance won't cover any of the newer medications, and some of them interact with some of my other medications, so I'm not able to take them. So it just, I've got ways to cope with it the best that I can. Thankfully, this one is not so bad that it's causing nausea, so I'm happy about that. I'll take what I can get, right? So I figured that I would just talk about some things that have been on my mind, some very real concerns. I know not only for me, but for, a lot of us, especially if we're in a similar position to what I'm in. I am 51. I'll be 52 in May. My oldest child just turned 18, and my youngest child will be 16 in June. For those of you who don't know, I live on a fixed income. I have my child support, and I have Social Security disability, which is not an entitlement program. I get a certain amount to help me support my son, and I get a fixed amount for myself. There are cost of living adjustments yearly. It's not a ton. Usually it covers what my insurance goes up. And then my elderly sister lives with me, and she has SSI. And I do work Instacart when I can. Last week was a wash. I wasn't really able to do much because I was so under the weather. I'm going to try to work a little bit on Thursday and Friday, hopefully. I'm not sure, though, but I will try. So here are what my concerns are. So my oldest child is going to age out of child support by the time that she graduates from college. And my youngest child is probably not going to be going to college, probably some kind of trade school, and he will eventually age out as well. And I know that this is a morbid thought, but I have to think about it. My sister, she's elderly. She is going to be 67 in August. It's just inevitable that at some point she will pass away, and then I won't have her income to help pay for housing. And, if I step back from my concerns about housing and how I'll survive in the future, and I just think of the fact that, my sister's probably going to pass away before I do, that's really pretty awful for me, because she's 15 years older than me, and my entire life she's been there. So I don't even know how to do life without her being in it, especially, I would say, the last 20 years, because she's lived with me. So that's mind-blowing to me. But my major concern is, among all these crazy housing prices, and the rent, especially in this area that I'm in, just how am I going to be able to afford to live? The lines are so long for any kind of housing help, Section 8, or any kind of subsidy. I applied to be put on a waiting list, and I wasn't even put on the waiting list, so that's frustrating because, I mean, to not even be put on a waiting list, it's crazy. Um, I don't know if I would want to move out of state because both my kids will probably still stay here. And add to the fact that, I'm older and I'm not going to know anybody, and my little bit of a support system is here. Um, and my boyfriend's here, you know. Eventually I'd like to move to his area, but again, like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford it, so I'm really worried about my future, my golden years. I don't expect either of my children to take care of me. It's certainly not their responsibility. It's a huge concern for me. I had thought of buying a mobile home, but then I realized that I won't be able to support that lifestyle either once I'm done receiving child support. And on my Social Security, it's not enough to sustain, a mortgage and a land rent payment with utilities. And, my ability to work, it's just very hit or miss, so I can't even really count on that. Of course, I have some in savings, and I want to keep adding to that and I can do that by living as frugally as possible. However, oops, sorry, I have my finger in the camera. My hand just got really uncomfortable. I got a cramp in it. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. But I'm still going to have to be able to pay bills. Now, I know that there's senior housing in our area, but, it's limited. So, I am going to be calling social services in the next couple days to see what's available, see if there's any lists that I can get on as far as that's concerned. We do have some new low-income housing that's popping up around town, but it's not very many units for as many units as are being built rather. I mean, there's a huge development going in on what was some beautiful farmland, and some woods, and I don't know exactly how many units, but I would say it's at least a couple hundred. And from what I can see, there's only maybe a dozen, and only one of them is a three of them are 3-bedroom units. So out of all the people that I know that need affordable housing, I just don't really see that happening for me. So I'm a little frustrated about that. It just seems that there's no modest housing really being built anymore, and I don't understand why. Nobody that I know can afford like a $700,000 or $800,000 mortgage, a $600,000 mortgage, even a $500,000 mortgage, and that's what a lot of these homes are. Whatever happened to a simple little 1,000 square foot house, 3 bedrooms, maybe a basement that you could eventually finish and make into a rec room, an eat-in kitchen, 1 bathroom, maybe a bath and a half if you were lucky, a decent sized living room, not huge. And whatever happened to just having housing that meets basic needs? A simple little ranch, a cute little Cape Cod. Why does everything have to be this huge, monstrosity that costs a lot to heat and cool, and furnish? My goodness. I just don't understand it, Back in the day, I know I've talked about this quite a bit. Back in the day, say like in the 40s and the 50s, when housing was being built, it was a lot of modest housing like I'm speaking of. And that's what I think we need to make a return to. A lot of these developments that are going up, they're just these huge townhomes and huge houses that your average, normal, everyday person cannot afford. And I do realize that a lot of people from the city are moving into my area, and a lot of those folks are wealthy. But where are we supposed to go? The lower income people and the middle class people, and I know a lot of people say there is no middle class anymore, but there is to an extent. I mean, my rent is outrageous. And for, the same size apartment that I have now, or, a house about this size, like a regular house. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling on my words. Um, for anything this size in town, and I'm on the lower income part of town, um, it could easily be, I would say, anywhere from 300, if you're lucky, to $1,000 more expensive than what I'm paying now. And my rent is based on market prices from about 4 years ago. So these are the things that keep me up at night. You know, I know that all I can do is keep pushing forward, keep saving, keep being frugal, and pray. I know that there's been tough times before, and I've always figured it out. I'm just really, to be honest with you, afraid of being homeless. I really am. Because more and more people are being forced into homelessness because there's a lack of affordable housing, a huge lack of affordable housing. And I just don't understand why. I get that house values have risen, and I understand that people want to capitalize on that. But at some point, this bubble, it's gotta break. Just I don't ever see the cost of groceries going down. I mean, it's like a bloodletting to go to the grocery store. Like, you really got to watch what you're doing in order to be able to afford to feed your family. Like, there's just very few luxury items being purchased, I know, at least by me. We have to really watch everything that we've got. I've turned to making a lot of things from scratch because I just can't afford them anymore. And that's okay. It's okay that we've had to tighten our belts, but to be honest with you, I don't even know how much more I could tighten my belt with the cost of things. My car insurance has gone up almost $100 a month. I switched my cell phone carrier, and that's going to save me a little over $100 a month. I dropped all cable, and now I just have a handful of affordable, discounted streaming services. My gas bill, as I expressed in another video, was outrageously high, and most of it was delivery, the delivery fee to bring the gas into my home. And electric is supposed to go up. I think it's 15 to 20% by this summer, just in time for the air conditioning to come on. So, I've got some really, really genuine big concerns. And, I wish that there was an easy solution. I really do. And like I said, I know that I'm not in this alone. I know a lot of you have these concerns. You know, I know that it's normal to have these concerns. Maybe it would be concerning if I didn't have these worries, because we've got to plan ahead. There's only so much you can control, that's true, but we have to make the most of our resources, and we have to save as much as possible. An occasional splurge is okay, if it's someone's birthday or a holiday or something like that, but you have to be prepared for that. So, we'll all get there. I know that we will. It's just, I don't think that I've ever seen a time where the proportion for our income to housing has been so out of whack. Just everyday expenses are just so out of whack, so disproportionate. And it's disheartening. I was thinking the other day about before the pandemic. I remember very clearly, not before the pandemic, but I would say probably like the middle of March of 2020. Actually, March 15, it was dead in the center. That is the day that I went to work, and my employer at the time told me that he was closing the office because of ADA recommendations and whatnot regarding COVID. So, he wanted to make sure that we all had what we needed, and we had discussions about that and unemployment. And I know some of my coworkers, they waited months and months and months for any unemployment to kick in. I went home that day and I applied within an hour of him telling me, and I was one of the luckier ones. I was paid within a few weeks. But, I wanted to make sure with my last paycheck that we were good and stocked in. And that's what I did. And I remember, this is a joke now because I could spend this in 1 week. I could spend more than this in 1 week if I wasn't extremely careful. But I bought a really decent amount of groceries for $250. Tons of meats, shelf-stable foods, toilet paper. I was very frugal about that, and I was good with my prices, and I was a huge couponer. I mean, like, I literally had, like, a trunk full, and I had a back seat full when I came home from shopping. It was the weekend after the 15th. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the 15th was on a Wednesday that year. I just remember it also. Actually, no, it couldn't have been because I didn't work on Wednesdays at that office. Anyway, I mean, it doesn't matter what day of the week it was. It feels like it was a Wednesday. Yeah, so I did that. And, I very clearly remember that I spent a little over $250, and the food that I had probably lasted us almost 2 months with what I already had in my house. So that to me is wild. And to spend $250 now, like, like you've got like a week, maybe a little bit over a week if you're lucky. So that alone is scary. And the utilities and all the expenses were just so much less. I mean, I was paying $700 less a month in rent for a whole house with a shed and an attic and a backyard and a front yard and a driveway. And it was beautiful. What can you do though, guys? It's just life. We just have to stay positive and do the best that we can. I know that I've been going on for, well, almost 18 minutes now, so I will end in a few minutes, but I just wanted to see what you guys are all thinking about this, as I know that a lot of us have the same concern, like I said earlier. I am just so grateful for the roof over our heads now, and the fact that we have a full freezer, a full fridge, a full pantry, that I have the know-how to cook very frugally and be very frugal with other things. I am grateful that I have my pets and I'm able to provide for them. I am grateful for all of my resources, the food pantries, and, the fact that I don't have to worry where my next meal is coming from at this time because I'm prepared. And I'm going to continue to keep preparing. When I see certain things go low, I'm going to make sure that I stock up on those things that are going low and rotate my pantry items. That's the best we can do, right? And squirrel away every dime, every penny that I can. So I hope you guys are managing to, just roll with the punches of life. My mom always used to say, as long as you're helping yourself, God will make sure that, you're okay. He's got a plan for all of us. So I truly believe in that. I'm going to keep my faith, and I'm going to prepare the best I can, and I'm going to hope for the best. I'm going to pray hard. Just continue to be a good person and be positive, because in the end, that's all we can do. So I hope that this video finds you guys well. I haven't really been cooking a ton this week, anything new or interesting. I haven't been to the food pantry since I'm not really feeling good. But as soon as I can, I will be posting another video featuring a recipe. Let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see me make. I look forward to seeing you guys the next time. Until then, please like, share, and subscribe. Please help me grow. I'd like to get to as many people and spread my message of living frugally, with intention, and still having a happy, abundant life. We're all blessed. Everyone here is blessed. Even on the days where it seems like we're not, there's always something to be grateful for. So I am sending you guys love from New Jersey as always. I hope you're having a good night. Bye-bye.